In this question, a scientist makes some lithium fluoride by reacting together lithium hydroxide, LiOH, and hydrofluoric acid, HF. The scientist then dissolves the lithium fluoride in water to form a solution according to the following equation. Lithium fluoride gives Li plus and F minus ions. Okay, so in this question, we're trying to figure out when we dissolve LiF in water, will the solution be acidic, basic, or neutral? And what will the likely pH be? So to do that, we have to think about our ions that are going to be in the solution and if either of them will be acidic or basic ions. So first, let's think about each of our ions. First, we have Li+. Li+ was formed from lithium hydroxide. Lithium hydroxide is a strong base. So how would we describe Li plus ion? So let's think about this. We had LiOH. When it reacts with water, we have the solid arrow showing it's a strong base. It's all reacting. It's all dissociating to form Li plus ions and OH minus ions. And LiOH here is our strong base. Li plus is therefore going to be our conjugate acid of our strong base. So let's fill that in here. We have the conjugate acid of a strong base. That's our Li plus ion. What about the F minus ion? The F minus ion came from hydrofluoric acid, HF. And HF is a weak acid. It's not one of our strong acids. So let's write an equation for HF. When HF reacts with water, we have that reversible arrow showing it can go both directions. We have H plus ions formed, and we have F minus ions formed. So HF is our weak acid. It loses H plus to form F minus. So F minus is our conjugate base of our weak acid. So how would you describe the F minus ion? It's the conjugate base of a weak acid. Okay, so we figured out what the Li plus and F minus ions are. Next, we need to think, will those ions act as an acid or base in a reaction with water? So looking at our equation here, when LiF dissolves in water, we have that solid line showing it's fully soluble. It forms the Li plus ions and F minus ions. So are either of those then going to go on to react with water? So let's look at our equations. For Li plus, here's Li plus. We can see it's on the right-hand side of that equation, and we've got that solid arrow showing it's a forwards reaction only. That means LiOH is a really strong base, and Li plus is an incredibly weak conjugate acid. That means Li plus is not even going to act as an acid. So Li plus does not act as acid in a reaction with water. And our reason why is that LiOH is a really strong base. And remember, according to our Kw equals Ka times Kb equation, if we have a really strong base with a really big Kb value, that means we have a really weak conjugate acid with a really tiny Ka value. So Li plus is so weak, it's not going to act as an acid in reaction with water. What about our F minus ion? Well, that is the conjugate base of a weak acid. We can see that reversible arrow there. That means that not only can HF dissolve in water to form H plus and F minus, it also means F minus can react with water or H plus ions to form back into HF. So this backwards reaction does occur because it's a weak acid, meaning it goes forwards and backwards. That means that our conjugate base F minus will react partially with water and act as a base. So F minus does act as a base in reaction with water. That means F minus is called a basic ion, and Li plus is just a regular ion. It's not called an acidic ion because it doesn't act as an acid. So we can answer these questions here. Which of the ions will act as an acid in reaction with water? We already decided not Li plus, that does not act as an acid because it's too weak, and not F minus, that's acting as a base. So the answer here is going to be neither. Which of the ions will act as a base? It's going to be F minus, that reacts as a base in reaction with water. So if we have F minus acting as a base in a reaction with water, we're going to have F minus reacting with water to form HF and OH minus. That means we're producing hydroxide ions, which are going to make our solution basic. So will the LiF solution be acidic, basic, or neutral? It's going to be basic because we have those F minus ions, which are basic ions, reacting with water to form HF and OH minus. So what will the likely pH be? It's going to be greater than 7 because we have a basic solution. So this whole idea is called salt hydrolysis. It's the idea that when a salt dissolves in water, if one of our ions is either acidic or basic, then those will react with water and the overall solution will be acidic or basic. To figure that out, we need to think if they are the conjugate acid or base of a strong base or acid versus a weak base or acid. If something is the conjugate acid or base of a strong base or acid, that means they do not act as an acid or base in reaction with water, because a strong base or a strong acid produce a really, really weak conjugate acid or conjugate base that's not even going to act like an acid or a base. However, if we have a weak acid or base, the conjugate base or acid formed can also react back with water to form the weak acid or base again. So anything that's the conjugate acid or base of a weak base or acid will be an acidic or basic ion and will react with water and therefore will affect the acidity of our solution in the end.